We're at Eclectic Gallery with Katherine Farris and Louise Oborne at a very exciting opening, and it's so wonderful to have your work in the gallery, and I love the fact that you paint together in the same studio. And can you tell us a little bit what drew you together to start painting, and about your styles, and whether how that works out?
Well, Katherine and I have been painting for about 14 years. We met at the Victoria College of Art. We took a course together, and that was in 2001. And since that time,
I taught there in 2001.
We were taking Wendy Welch's course.
Yeah.
And then we followed her to Visa. And we've just been painting together. Our styles are obviously very different.
They are very different, and it's interesting because as I hung the show, I was really looking, first of all, it's like, should I keep them separate? But I realized that they really integrate so well together.
Well, that's part of the process too, because when we're working together, we usually have a theme, and we're working off one another. And even though our styles are very different, they're informing each other in a way, either through color or through gesture or through form.
Yeah.
So that's how we found that's working best for us in the studio.
And you've worked on several other themes.
Yes.
I mean, this is botanical gestures,
Yes.
and there's a lot of exuberance and vitality in the work that you've presented. So how did you determine that theme?
Well, both of us are lifelong gardeners, and we're addicted to flowers, I have to say. Flower painting, of course, has its detractors sometimes in contemporary art, but I think what we were trying to do was to acknowledge how what an effect that the giving of flowers has on people, the arranging of flowers. People take pictures of flowers and send them to their friends. So we were just exploring that detail.
So it's really what's behind the gesture of the flower.
Yeah, that's right. It's not just the flowers gesture in life, but it's how you use flowers to celebrate people or to acknowledge something good or sad or merry or
and
whatever.
to acknowledge the feeling that's behind that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we forget, or we're not totally conscious of why we're giving the flowers.
Well, I would find that, as two artists working simultaneously, that your thoughts would also interweave, and that I'm sure you have amazing conversations over tea.
Yeah, we do. We're quite quiet when we paint. The sort of aspect of painting is pretty still and quiet, and then after a few hours, there's, oh my goodness, let's stop, and then we sit and look and talk about the work and have lunch.
I know, several of the artists in some of the plein air groups, and it's it's a very solitary experience. But the lunch moment when they actually share the work and look at what they've just achieved is probably the most enriching time, because you really get to express what and hear what the other has to say about it.
The other thing is when we're painting and sometimes somebody will say something and you'll stop, and it's really lucky you stopped then. That it takes you out of it and it takes you back from it, and you stop doing that repetitive gesture.
And we're not afraid to tell one another things about the painting, which is very helpful.
Great. I mean, that's very trusting as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I find that the style of your painting is also so different.
Yeah.
That Kath, yours has just this looseness and exuberance and joyfulness and expressiveness, and it's all over the map.
Isness. Yes.
And Louise, yours has a sense of tranquility and very focused calmness, and working with very restricted palettes. And your determination to restrict your palette, does that cramp your style?
No, actually, I think it makes it much easier for me to paint when I'm with a restricted palette, because then I can concentrate on the form and I can concentrate on the subject. And I think some of my colors have changed dramatically because of Katherine's influence.
As have mine.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So it's an interesting exchange.
But yours haven't exactly calmed down.
Well, actually.
Oh, actually, I have.
Yeah.
Well, I find it a really challenging show. I think it's very exciting, and I really encourage viewers to come and see the show while it's still up. The work is sensational. I think you should both be extremely proud of what you've presented to us.
Thank you very much, Sean.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it.